Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to Ori and the Blind Forest. We've got more awesome action for you tonight. My name is Vol'jin, and I'm here this time literally alongside Trojan Dude. We're going to bring you the commentary on this race between ogNdrahciR, also known as Richard, and Kirefel. Trojan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and that was a very solid attempt at pronouncing his name backwards. that was solid, man.
I did my best.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, thanks for. I'm really excited to do the actual in Legends apartment. Oh my god! I'm just doing this nice one-on-one commentary. So yeah, we got a really cool match on our hands. Because even though these are 3 and 4 seeds, at the time they had a bunch of separation in them. They're actually, as far as PB is concerned, really close. And actually, of the 2 race times, Kirefel actually had a better one, even though he was the 4 seed coming into it. So. Yeah, so definitely I think that this should be a pretty interesting race.
Indeed. Yeah, as you mentioned, Kirefel's time in his race was 43-46 compared to Richard's 45-22. They've only done the one race so far, both against the higher seeds. Kirefel went against me and Richard went against Ella Jiminy. So it's going to be interesting to see how things work out here in this match. So we are about to get started here.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that we want to reiterate about the seedings going forward in the bracket stage, it's going to be really important for these two, as they're far behind, Vol'jin and Elo in this group as far as PBs are concerned, that they avoid the 4 spot coming out of the group, because that means you're going to have to go up against the 1 seeds, once we get to the round of 32 and such, and it's going to be a lot more pressure in a race like that. So I think that this is a big race for both of these guys, and we'll have to see how they come through.
Indeed. So we have just gotten started. We're going to get the stream synced up, of course, as usual, but we're going to see the beginning of the game here. We'll see if either runner decides to enter the color code. I'm not seeing it on either screen yet. They're going to start jumping their way down to the Spirit Flame. Trojan, at the beginning of a race like this between, a 3 and a 4 seed, even though they're not necessarily vying for like a 3 and record or anything, they're looking to, not take last place in this group. They're looking to prove something here. What do you think they're both thinking right now?
I mean, I think that in the other races, they kind of had nothing to lose, so they were going to go for it. And I believe Kirefel actually got a PB off of it, so he probably was not feeling as much pressure in that run. I think in this run, though, knowing that they're so close in PB right now, they've probably got to be putting a little extra pressure on themselves, and they're not going to know where they are in relation to the other one unless they have the other person stream up while they're racing as well.
Indeed. We do see Richard deploy the color code here, and he's got a nice light blue, very nice color. It'll have a lot of contrast with the background here. You'll be able to see it clearly. And they're both going to make use of their attacks here. It's like they're both going for the same type of clustered attacks, 2 at a time, as quickly as possible. And no problems for either runner. It's basically neck and neck right now.
Yeah. As far as color codes, I'm always a huge fan of the teal and the hot pink. Those are always really good, high contrast ones, and it looks pretty swag when you're jumping and flipping and everything like that.
Yeah, not only that, but it's a lot easier to pick out a light blue or a bright pink on the background. And personally, I'm partial to the bright pink because when you do save anywhere glitch, it's a lot easier to see in the background.
Yeah, definitely. So both these guys are coming up to the area where they're going to be ghost storing, and it looks like Kirefel did a little bit cleaner movement through there, so he's got the most slightest of leads right now going there, and I believe they're both at 2 HP. I don't think they got any health drops.
Yeah, Kirefel took the 1 damage from that slime there. Richard had already taken a damage. Kirefel taking that boost. Richard as well, both running through that slime. They don't need his XP. They'll be able to get what they need through other means. Both doing their ghost store, both with 1 HP. Very clean. Still pretty even here.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to be seeing Richard going for 5 HP, I know. I believe Kirefel is going to be going for 4. So right now, of course, they're going to be even, but later on there will be a slight divergence as Richard is going to take a little detour and pick up a 5th health cell. I'm actually not sure which extra one he's going to get specifically.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly from his previous race, I believe it's the one right before Sea Flame, but I am not 100% certain. I have seen Meldon has gone for the one that is through the 2 energy door that's right next to the water vein. And I don't know if anybody else is taking that one that early, but both of them, if done properly, take about the same amount of time. So it really doesn't particularly matter. It's more personal preference at that point.
Indeed. And we're seeing Richard getting his level up on the way down to wall jump. Kirefel is going to be taking it on the way back up. So otherwise, they're both coming into wall jump pretty much the same time. Kirefel with about a 2-second advantage here. Nothing major, certainly very surmountable. Pretty close race at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And 3:33 for Kirefel is a very good wall jump time. I think for anybody with a PB like his, anything under 3:35 is very, very solid. And the wall jump split is one of those splits that takes a lot of practice to optimize, because there's a lot of, even though you don't have any abilities at that point except for just shooting with sign, there's a lot of little areas like the elbow coming on down and everything. Ooh, that's a bad 2 damage right there. But the elbow coming on down and through getting the 4th health cell, there's a lot of that little movement that you can mess up and it'll lose you a second or 2 if you jack it up a little bit.
Indeed. Kirefel, in addition to taking that little damage there, and he picks up the flower, both of them picking up the flower to get 1 HP worth of refresher there. Not a bad play by either one. Kirefel, of course, had taken 2 damage from that bramble a little bit earlier on, which is very scary at this point. But taking the extra HP, never a bad play. He is actually back at 1 right now. So he's definitely going to be a little bit worried here. He will take this HP as well. Richard opts to bypass it. He's feeling a little more confident in his health.
Yeah, and those are the adaptations you have to do, that even though you're giving a second or 2 back to your opponent, you have to take, because it's really risky, especially with both of those slime shots that are really hard to judge at times, to really be a 1 HP. So it's much safer in a race setting to just stop, take that extra HP, and then it allows you the ability to get hit by one of them, at the very least, like a little bit of human error.
So one quick difference to note there, as they were both doing their save anywhere glitch, is that Kirefel actually will do his using keyboard and mouse. Otherwise, they are both controller players, but Kirefel will specifically switch to keyboard and mouse in order to do the save anywhere glitches, which is actually the method that I use, but not many controller players actually do that.
Yeah, is it just like more of a comfort of going through the like the menuing is harder on controller?
Yeah, it's just making it from the orb that you use to store the menu over to the skill that you want to learn is just a little bit awkward. It's a radial menu that you're not necessarily used to manipulating one of those using using the D-pad or whatever, and so it gets a little bit awkward sometimes. They're both crossing the horrifying spike pit of death, both of them making it across. Now they gotta deal with the terrifying lasers of fear. These are names I just made up, but they're both making it through. Kirefel possibly missing out on a cycle of these platforms. Yeah. Richard's able to get the earlier one.
He did miss out on a cycle. And Richard came back a little bit. He was behind coming into BRB by a couple seconds, but now he's a full cycle ahead. So about 6 seconds for that platform cycle, about 6 seconds ahead.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is pretty much what I expected. They're really, really close so far at this point, going to dash, and we'll have to see how the upcoming things for the dash to double jump segment with like Frankie Walk and the Death Gauntlet do as far as like making separation or keeping them about the same, and they do proper movement through there.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a race between lower seeds where it's not, one of the things that's hardest to acquire in this game is consistency, and that's one of the big differences between players at at better PB levels like 34s or whatever versus a 45. And so you're always worried that what you're going to see in a match like this is a ton of huge mistakes costing them minutes or multiple minutes.
Yeah.
And instead what we're seeing here, this is always really nice to see that they're just both playing pretty well. Little bits of slop causing little amounts of variance, but so far this is a very even match.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, Kirefel right now got a little lucky. He actually saved an extra second or 2 off of Richard by getting an instant orb drop right there. So he made up a bit of that time from his lost cycle right there with that. And unfortunately, there's not much Richard can do about it. It's all based on timing from the start of your game. So it's kind of just luck of the draw.
Both of them coming into dash now. They're both going to be looking to start deploying dash glides. Of course, that's where you are able to carry a slightly greater than normal movement speed forward as you glide through the air with a dash. It's a pretty complicated input. Both of these guys able to pull it off there. They're going to use it again to jump over this slow zone here. Kirefel not quite getting in. He opts to just not try a second time.
Yeah.
Take his little loss there. It shouldn't be too much of a difference. It's only a couple seconds, but you know, everything could potentially matter in the end. You never know.
Yep. And one thing that I can't remember from their previous races, but both of them opt out of taking that safety save after the gap right there, which I think as the tournament has gone on, we've seen a lot of people shy away from that. I think the higher seeds were tending to go for that safety save for, you know, to help with the jitters a little bit. But I think now that people have been getting more accustomed to the race experience, noticed a lot less people are actually taking that safety save on the well right there.
Yeah, the Frankie walk is one of those things that is extremely challenging to learn. But once you get it down, you're going to generally be able to pull it off more times than not by a pretty significant margin, like pretty much 90+% of the time, even for a runner that is less confident. There are other strats in the game. So both of these runners pretty confident their Frankie walks, and clearly justifiably so. They're able to make it up to the next energy cell. Kirefel having a little bit of trouble with that block, but he's able to stay on it. He gets his safety save. Richard's thrown his down as well, so they're both good to go here.
Yeah, this is still incredibly close, and like I said, with the Death Gauntlet and Frankie Walk, there's a lot of uncertainty in that area, but they both did really, really well with it.
Now, neither of these runners going for the early grotto cycle here. There's a slightly faster cycle of these crusher blocks that you can get, but neither of them is comfortable with that strategy yet, so they're just going to take the 7 or so seconds of waiting time that they need to take there. And Richard dropping his ghost door. He puts the keystones into the door, makes a save, and then takes an intentional death. Kirefel is going to do the same thing here, and both of them successfully through. We're going to see this little section on the way to double jump. We've seen it claim some lives over the past couple days. Richard manages to make it through, Kirefel as well, so that's good for both of them.
Good job. Yeah, they're like 5 seconds apart right now. This is really cool to watch. Like, and both of them are going to be opting for the blind movement right here, and we'll see if there's any sort of separation or if Kirefel can catch up on the way to Ginso right here with some better movement. Both did better blind movements really, really well. And the cool thing about that is you can either go off of a certain amount of inputs if you just memorize it that way, or you go off audio cues. Really just depends on the person. That was a nice swag dash glide.
Indeed. Richard coming up to his grotto skip. He's going to collect the 15 XP. He is going to miss the first try, but he's got the second one. Very good. Kirefel right behind him gets the first try. Narrows the gap just that much. So every little bit counting right here, right now. Richard going for his cutscene skip, Kirefel as well. As you mentioned with the thought that I just completely lost, I'm just going to move on to what's going on here.
Blind movement thing?
Oh yeah, of course, with the blind movement. Sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily possible, as Kirefel just takes the lead right there because Richard slips off of the wall. But Kirefel is having problems with this jump as well, so Richard's coming right back. It's still very close. You know, sometimes with those audio cues, if you're in certain kind of situations, it can be hard to hear them. Or even if you're in a situation where you're stressed out enough and it's tough, scary enough of a situation, you might just not be able to hear it normally. Like your ears kind of drown out the sound. So a lot of runners will opt instead to go with a timing cue instead. Yeah,
definitely. I tend to go off of a certain amount of inputs.
Real quick, I'll just interrupt to mention that Richard is going for this HP right here. So this is his 5th HP. And so that is going to give Kirefel a quick 8-second advantage here. But, of course, that can even out later in case Kirefel takes an unfortunate death.
Ooh, Richard takes some damage from the Suicide Slime. He might be at 1 actually right now. I don't think he checked his HP. Oh, no, he got the refill, so he's actually at 2. He should be fine. Or at 3 right now because he got that 5th health. So
Indeed. So both of them coming up on the iceless area here. Kirefel is picking up the XP. Took a little extra damage,
Ooh.
but he was able to get his level up.
Yeah, good save with the dash right there, because I don't think, if he didn't dash right there, I don't think he would have killed the frog. He would have had to kill it manually.
Yeah, and that is very slow compared to just having the level up explosion kill him instantly.
Yeah.
Kirefel trying to go for a dash glide off of that top platform, just a little bit, flubbed it, and he had to kind of deal with the Frankie. He's now coming up to this block, which he's going to pull out and try to get a properly timed dash right under there.
Very nice.
So that was pretty good on his part. He's able to get that teleporter, which he's not even going to use until the end of the game, but it's going to save a fair bit of time. Richard now pulling his block. He took some damage from that rotating saw, but he does have the 5 HP. He even takes the safety save. Not necessarily a bad play.
Yeah, definitely not. I think that it's a safety save you would normally not take. Also, I think Kirefel messed up his cutscene skip right there.
It does appear that way.
Looks like actually they're going to be really close now. If Richard gets it, yeah. So Richard just got all the time he was behind. He's only behind about like 3 seconds now, or 4 seconds. So this is kind of a seesaw match so far. This is this has been really entertaining actually, because they've it's not like they're really been at a bad pace or anything. There haven't been any like major mistakes. It's all these minor things that have allowed a lot of lead changes.
Indeed. And we're definitely, tough death for Kirefel right at the beginning. And that's really going to, that's going to emphasize that difference in terms of the amount of HP they have. And Kirefel also didn't take the safety save at the Thornfelt teleporter.
Yeah.
And that meant he didn't get an HP refill. So Richard is able to make his way to the top of this room with all the Geemers. These are definitely not derivative of any other game. They are definitely unique to Ori and the Blind Forest. He was able to scale that room no problem. Kirefel has fallen in his footsteps, and things are going pretty well. Richard nearly sniped by the spider going through those teleporters, but he manages to avoid it. Kirefel having a little trouble with the spider as well.
Nice dodge. Very nice
goodness.
Dodge. Oh
my gosh.
Oh my god.
Both of them nearly getting sniped by the spider.
Oh my god, Kirefel. Good lord.
That spider has it in for these runners, but fortunately they escaped. Oh, Kirefel with a swag log push.
Dude, he's still got that cycle too. That's because the cycle starts as soon as you hit like I think it's the room with the spider in it. So if you mess up enough of your movement, you'll miss a full cycle, and I think he was able to get it still, which was impressive.
Yeah, good play by Kirefel. They're both on the mini boss now. You're going to see both of them. Kirefel looks like he's going for individual shots, just properly timed every 0.3 seconds. Richard instead is going for the clustered shots. He's trying to get 8 per cycle, but it's very hard with some of the spawns that you might get from this mini boss.
Yeah.
So he finishes it off. Kirefel, he is getting a little bit trolled by the mini boss. He's just not quite getting the good spawns. So there's actually a specific spot on the center platform that you really want to stand in. I think Kirefel probably doesn't know it. So there's a spawn that the mini boss can pop up at the middle platform, and he just wasn't doing that.
Yeah, that's what I do all the time. It's the very far left-hand side of the of that center platform. Allows you to spawn him in the middle.
And it is a pretty spooky spot to stand because you have a decent chance of just sliding off into the spikes if you're not careful.
I definitely haven't died there ever. Nope.
Nope, not once. So Richard is coming into Bash. He is just a few seconds ahead. Yeah. We are going to get an update on that exact number from our crew in the truck. But we're also hearing that probably both runners are currently ahead of their PBs. So that's a developing story that we'll certainly be hearing about as this race goes on. Richard taking a little bit of damage there. Those spikes actually are the first spikes that deal 3 damage, so you really don't want to get hit by them.
Yep.
And now he's going to be at 1 HP for the rest of this section.
Yeah, it gets a little hairy because all the enemies, if you run into them, generally only do 1. And same with the slime shots. Richard's having a bit of issue. He actually missed that cycle. Looks like Kirefel just took. Yeah, Kirefel just took the lead right now with a better manipulation of those flower shots. So
indeed. Richard with just a little bit of possibly a little bit of panic there. Might also be a little bit concerned about his HP count. Kirefel's got good HP, so he's able to take the damage boost up that spike wall, and he's going to be working on his key dupe now. Richard close behind. It's still a very close race, especially with Kirefel missing that bash, so they are back pretty much neck and neck.
Ooh.
A very strong and good, trying to combine those words.
Good.
Key duplication for Kirefel. He also gets his rekindle, so very solid on his part.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing he got that rekindle.
Yeah, no kidding. That was, yeah, I think he forgot to hold right there.
That bash is actually not particularly easy, as you probably know by now, Trojan, non-controller.
Yeah, just bashing is impossible in control. I don't know how you guys do it, honestly. I don't know, it's from like other games where I do play controller, and it's just like, why is this important button on Y? I never use Y for anything useful.
So they are once again exactly neck and neck. They have come to the second mini boss again, so this is a very close match so far, and I'm truly impressed. Richard getting the kill, Kirefel right behind. They're both collecting the XP, and they're going to come up here and work on their core skip.
Very nice. Yeah, this is incredibly close. And if they get out to like stomp, this is even closer than I expected the Red Rum versus Ice match to even be. And that was like, I kind of saw their PBs and I knew they were both like, oh man, Richard actually messed up core skip right there. But that was actually like, I saw that match when I was commentating. I'm like, all right, this match, they're within like 30 seconds of each other at this point, and with their solid movement, this is going to be close. And it delivered, but this is delivering even more than that one, which is pretty impressive, honestly.
Richard a little tentative on his second attempt at core skip, but he does get it. Kirefel was able to get his first. So that's a pretty decent amount of improvement, amount of deficit just opened by Kirefel, but definitely anyone's game. And beyond Stomp is really when we're going to start to see the major time losses become, you know, kind of open up.
Yeah.
These races.
Yeah, because most of the time, unless you're putting a bunch of safety saves, it's most of the failure of tricks will lose you like 30 seconds to a minute. Now I know more people have been opting for the 5th energy cell. So they have extra saves to go through the whole section. Yeah, Kirefel got a little bit iffy with the cycles right there.
The water was lapping at his feet, but didn't do any damage, so no harm, no foul. Richard, once again, we saw him go for this strat in his previous race. I missed it here, but he opted to use the save glitch and despawn the water.
Yeah.
And it's a really good safety strat if you're not super confident that you might not just fall back down and get caught by the water. That's going to make it a lot safer to do this escape.
Yeah, definitely. Kirefel also did a little unique thing. He gave love for those last walls right before those 4 lanterns to get out. He gave love to both sides. He jumped on the left, jumped on the right, and then jumped on the jumped for the final lanterns.
So we're getting the update from the truck that we've got a 19-second deficit right now for Richard, which is definitely not even in the realm of being insurmountable. Yeah. He does make sure to turn his UI back on, as Kirefel also had done the same, and he's ascending to get to Stomp. Richard getting through the door right now.
Yep. And
here's where things are going to get real.
Oh, man. They're going to get super real. Starting with Drainless.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. It's just like the actual learning of Drainless, like for me, it was just so hard to like get down. You're like, oh, God, you have to do a Stomp and your save button at like almost like rapid succession. This is impossible.
So we'll give a quick update on the runners' PBs. We're seeing that Kirefel is currently 1:15 ahead of his PB, which is extremely solid pace. But again, like anything can happen later on. We don't even know his PB in the late game could have just a ton of real spaghetti that he could save a ton of time on.
Yeah, definitely.
We've also got Richards, which he is 1:20 ahead of his PB. So they're both on comparably amazing paces for themselves.
And Kirefel does get Drainless, and Richard is just about to do it here in a second. We'll have to see if he gets it on first try as well.
Indeed. The trick, of course, being that you place a save right next to the edge of this platform. Richard actually going for the setup on the bottom, which is totally valid and interesting. I haven't seen most runners do that. But Richard's just got a few slightly safer methods, and he does get it, no problem.
Yep.
Kirefel coming up on his Kuro cutscene skip. I don't actually know if either of these runners actually does the Kuro cutscene skip yet.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I want to say that Richard may have attempted it, but they might just, bash themselves into it.
Well, we're gonna see. Kirefel is going for it, and
he got it.
Gets
oh
it.
boy, nice!
Fantastic play by Kirefel. He's able to pull off the cutscene skip, and you viewers in the audience will have no idea anything even happened because there was no cutscene. He is a little bit tentative with some of these bashes. Richard setting up his cutscene skip. He was not successful. So unfortunately, that's going to be another 17-second time loss for him relative to Kirefel, who is going for the 5th energy, which is always slightly dangerous, but he's able to get it. And he didn't get killed by the wall. Okay.
All right, we're in there.
Trojan, as you well know, that wall is terrifying.
That wall is... Just any concave wall just sucks in this game, like, pretty much for double jumping. Like wall jumping, it's fine. It's like you can just expect to just throw a wall jump off. It's like, oh, yeah, this is totally okay. When you're trying to double jump and do all this like precise movement, and then you're like, oh, my jump didn't reset.
Wow, I'm not sure exactly what Richard was going for, but he dash glided directly to his death as Kirefel picked up Charge Flame. So Kirefel opening up a little bit of a lead here. Richard is going for the 5th energy cell escape, and he does get it. What an execution there. Was not quite expecting. It seemed like maybe he wasn't confident in his movement to get out of there.
Yeah.
Then he did that.
Oh, he did a nice little swag jump off that sea flame before he stomps it to its demise.
Indeed. And Kirefel has just done his Spirit Tree cutscene skip. So we're coming upon some of the harder sections of the run. Trojan, what are you going to expect from both of these runners? What do you think based on their play so far?
I mean, based on the way Kirefel is going right now, I would expect him to not... I would expect neither of these guys to go for fast stomps, but definitely Kirefel not, because I think he's at this point, he probably has his splits up next to him at the very least, and so he's got to feel like he's had a really good run, and I doubt that he's going to even... I don't know if he's been attempting fast stomps in practice, but I doubt that he's going to go for it in this type of situation.
Yeah, I think Richard is not going to either, and... you know, it's worth mentioning that Richard's recent practice, when he has practiced, since he's been spending so much time helping us run this tournament, and doing a fantastic job of that. But when he's been able to practice, he's been having some really tough runs. He's been like +3 minutes, +5 minutes, etc. So this is like, he's come out today and he's putting on a really good performance.
Oh boy!
Here
we go.
I'm shocked, but we are seeing Kirefel go for fast stompless. He's going to try to redirect this spider shot at an angle that goes through a wall to hit a bunch of rocks. I'm not sure about that angle.
It might have hit the ceiling, which is fine if that's the case.
He's making his way up to the cell. He gets it.
Yeah.
He did not get the shot.
All right, he's going to probably... Oh, no, he didn't save.
He didn't rekindle, which is interesting, but it's all right. He is going to be able to make it up, so that's not a giant time loss. It's around 20 seconds probably.
But man, the balls on this guy, he's...
Ooh, goodness.
He's like, oh, you know, I'm just like casually almost 2 minutes ahead of my PB. Let's just try for one of the hardest tricks in the game. Don't worry about it, guys.
So Kirefel is now going to go up and do what we call a slow stomple, where you you do actually stomp that thing. Richard is not going for fast stompless. This is what we totally expected here. He's having a little bit of trouble with that spider projectile. He has a better lineup right now, so he'll be able to get up there.
Nice.
And Kirefel is about to collect feather.
All right. Oh, interesting. That was an interesting strat right there. He dropped his save and actually just automatically got a charge dash, right?
Ah, fascinating. He goes to that rocket jump. That's actually a reverse event order strat, which is really interesting.
Yeah, but with the 5th energy, you have energy right there to waste.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
You might as well save the time. That probably saves, like, I would say probably like 6 seconds or something. Maybe 5.
Kirefel is going to get his frog into position. He's rocket jumping up to the top of top of Valley. And he is going to drop a save here. He did take the Spirit Well at the bottom of Valley, so that was possible for him. He also has 5 energy, so he's going to have the possibility to do a safety save in Sorrow.
Being a jerk.
Yeah, looks like he's going for a 2-bird setup, and he wasn't quite getting the... Ooh. Yeah, he's just having a little bit of trouble with these birds. He's going to try to reline it up. It gets a little dangerous if you bash these birds enough. He's going for double bashes now. Unfortunately takes a death there, and that was after a lot of messing around. So Richard now has a bit of an opportunity. Sorrow Bash is not an easy trick.
Oh, can you get the 5 bash setup?
Oh, no, he killed the bird.
That was a good try.
Richard, for some reason, looked like he reloaded the game. He might have, I might have missed that he failed a rocket jump.
Yeah. Which
He does seem to be having some trouble with it. Yeah. Just
right.
a little bit of spaghetti. Kirefel makes it into Sorrow Pass now. And we're going to see how this is going to go for him.
All right. And he's probably going to be dropping a safety save as soon as he gets this rocket jump going through. All right. And he is.
Indeed. This is the safety save of choice.
Oh! Dude, just the drop in and the swag right into the laser dash. That
No fear
was
from Kirefel.
gorgeous.
And he's able to hold on that lead as Richard is he's been having a little trouble getting up to the top of Valley. Kirefel is going to go for his frog juggle. And Richard, he's just trying to get away from those birds so he can get his save. This is going to be a tense part of the match. This is the part of the game where, you know, for runners in the higher PB marks, this is the scariest part where, you know, they're not necessarily super confident being able to pull everything off.
All right, yeah, so Richard made an adjustment right there. Oh man.
All right, Kirefel breaking the ceiling to get to the top of Sorrow. He gets his rocket jump, does not hit the spikes on the way up, and he is there. Collecting his level up, he is going to make his save, and he's going to be able to get the Sunstone and skip that cutscene.
Nice. Good stuff. Dude, Kirefel's got to be on really solid. As Richard takes another death to Sorrow bash right there, he's finally able to get some attempts after the birds actually reset. So we'll have to see. Oh, he's doing.
Yes.
Oh, that's a unique strat.
Yes,
usually people do it from the bottom.
Yeah, so that's the 5 HP damage boost strat there, is that you just fly directly in the elbow, take some damage, and you're all good. But only if you have 5 HP and only if your HP is full to start. So a little bit of a dangerous strat. It's going to put him at 1 HP going into Sorrow. I'm sure he'll take a safety save real soon. Probably the same one after this first rocket jump. Oh, but he doesn't.
Oh, and Kirefel just took a really unfortunate death right there. They lose him about 30 seconds. He was on like the last little spike pit before the door that you go store at, and he unfortunately he took some spikes to the face.
Yeah, that is an area with some very awkward spike hitboxes, and it's also very awkward to control the feather. Richard having some problems with his rocket jump on this frog. He did actually make a save earlier in Sorrow, so that's not a bad play. He knew that his Sorrow Pass or his Sorrow Bash wasn't going super well.
Yeah.
So he made his save just to be safe. So things going pretty well for Kirefel at this point. He was able to recover, get to C jump. He looks a little bit confident right now. He rekindles that Ghost Door save. Richard trying to get his laser dash. For some reason, he's just having an awkward position there. Both of those positions look good, so I'm not really sure what happened exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially the second one looked fine, but sometimes that laser is a bit finicky, and it is dependent on where the frog is. Sometimes, if you actually, if you get the frog, if he's right up against the laser and you try doing it, because of the point where you start your bash, it actually pushes you into the laser, and you'll just instantly die. So it is a little finicky.
Meanwhile, Kirefel puts a safety save at the entrance to Misty. His exit from C-Jump was really good, so
yeah,
no real problems there. And he's opening up a very significant lead right now. Kirefel is also still a minute 50 ahead of his PB as of charge jump.
Yeah.
So great pace for him. Richard trying to just make sure that he's able to get back on track here. He doesn't want to lose it entirely. He's having some awkward aim with his frog, but he is able to get the break on the ceiling, no problem. And the rocket jump, and he does not hit the spikes. Oh, though he tries.
Also a nice, oh man, that was a nice adaptation by Kirefel right there. He dropped a safety save to because you have the double regroup, so you get 2 cells at this point back for every time you drop a safety save, and he actually just took a frog shot to the face, and that actually saved him from dying right there. So really, really good adaptation. Like Kirefel is adapting very well to his health positioning right now at this point, which is great to see from such a newer runner.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that he's playing with the UI on here is really interesting. A lot of runners do this, but not necessarily newer runners. It's very easy to forget to turn your UI back on, but Kirefel has done it here, and he's just using it to be able to keep track of both his health and his energy as he goes through these dangerous areas.
Yeah, and he's not doing it all the time. He's only doing it when he's really not, like, very unsure about where he currently is, especially with health-wise. So it's very smart of him to be doing that.
Richard is now coming into C jump. He was able to make it down from Sunstone without any problems. So that definitely helps. If he knew that Kirefel had struggled at that might give him a little bit of confidence. But unfortunately, he probably has no idea.
Did Kirefel just do a stomp cancel?
I'm not sure. I saw what you saw. I see that he's at 3 energy.
He dropped
maybe.
a safety save too. I'm trying to think.
That might have been a stomp cancel, which is really fascinating.
Actually, I think he just did 2 uncanceled dashes because he did not do the rock. He killed the frog, so he missed the rocket jump right there.
Ooh, Richard taking some damage on the way out of Sorrow. He's just having a rough time. He is able to make it out, and he does get the meteor kick down into Misty. And he's gonna drop a save there, so he's
gonna do the rocket jump. Oh boy, Kirefel with the swag strats. Let's go.
A beauty from Kirefel. He's shown us some real cool stuff today in terms of what he has been able to learn so far. And it's been really impressive.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Let's see if he actually drops a safety save in front of the Misty mini boss. I wouldn't honestly be surprised, but let's see if he does or not.
He is picking up the energy. He's not dropping the safety save. He went for boom, boom, boom. He almost got it. Very good job on his part. And he also, something that I don't see a lot of runners recognize, on the second charge jump there, he didn't bother charging a charge flame.
Yeah.
He knew that the charge jump was going to be enough.
Yep.
And a lot of runners, if they don't get boom, boom, boom immediately, they always feel like they have to throw another charge flame in there because they just don't have that experience to know that.
Ooh, there we go. That's why you're at 4 health, boys and girls.
Indeed, that 3 damage, pretty scary. For Kirefel, you really don't want to take a death here. I don't know if he saved after the mini boss.
He did.
Okay.
He did drop a save right after he put the keys into the door.
Richard ascending through this little gauntlet here in Misty.
That was a stomp.
Terrifying. I don't know if it was a stomp cancel or not, but it was terrifying. He went right up against the spikes, and he said, "No, I do not fear you."
Yeah. Good lord.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. It was funny because as Richard was doing that, Kirefel actually did a perfect stomp cancel across the gap as well.
Very nice. He has made it to Blackroot Burrows. He's coming upon the last little bits of the game.
You know, he is on sub 39 pace right now, I want to say. So he's like smashing his PB currently.
That is correct. We're still hearing that he is on at least a minute and a half ahead of his PB. Oh,
good adaptation.
Indeed.
I think he's gonna have to wait another one too.
Yeah, he wanted to play a little safe, which is never a bad idea. He's gonna wait one more. That is not a bad play. He manages to avoid death by that laser, which is much better than dying to the laser if you tried to go as fast as possible and you weren't sure of it. He is about to take a hit from that projectile. He does. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter as he set up his save anywhere. Uses the projectile for the bash over the slow zone, something I don't actually see a lot of runners go for.
He was also giving us a secret code. He was saying this game is hard. He was trying to change it in the difficulty menu.
Richard, unfortunately, with a very costly death midway through the escape from Climb. And he's having some problems just getting that rocket jump off that frog, so he opts to skip it. And he's skipping that the bash off that Frankie as well. Kirefel has got his light burst. He's making his way out. Very good pace for Kirefel. He is 2 minutes ahead of his PB as of light burst. Richard unfortunately fell behind his, but we're going to see if he's able to maybe make up some of that time later on.
Oh, he's doing the rocket jump. Nice. Kirefel's been on point with his rocket jumps all run. Like,
pulling
it's
out all
really impressive.
Too. Yeah. I'm very impressed with what he's shown us today. Just in terms of, even compared to his previous race, he's brought so many new strats that he must have learned just over the past week.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was going to say what yours was, what we were just looking at. It's like literally a week ago from today?
It was on Friday last week, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, man, that's pretty impressive, honestly. Like, to have that much growth in a week is mind-blowing.
Richard is making his way toward the mini-boss. Since that death, he's been able to make it through the back half of Misty pretty well. He is using his strats there, which unfortunately caused him to take a little bit of damage on that spitter. He's going to be a little bit worried here. Is he going to take the safety save? He sure is. Okay.
Kirefel got a little bit of little bit of a nice warmth from the fireplace right there next to the laser, the shooting bro.
And he is coming to the door of Mount Horrors, so now it's all door warp for him. He could potentially come in with a very low 40 in this run.
Yeah, definitely. He is on blazing pace right now, which is fantastic to see. He is gonna absolutely just like, if he gets door up in the first like 3 tries, like he's gonna destroy his PB.
Let's see. He missed once. He's going for it again. That is also a miss. I'm not going to call out every single one because that would probably jinx him more. But he got it on 3rd try anyway, so there you go. As this man said right here.
Don't call me a prophet, but I just got that one right.
He's having a little bit of trouble getting up to the pedestal, but now he does. Richard is heading for the teleporter to Light Burst. Most likely the race is out of reach for him, but he is still going to go for the best finish that he can. He's definitely been playing okay since the problem is getting into Sorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, outside of that one costly death coming out of Climb, the rest of his play has been relatively clean. And so let's see, big question is this Kirefel, since we've seen all these other mad strats from him, is this guy going to actually...
Oh, God! How did he survive that?
As I said, the absolute madman, can we get... Is this guy's going for fish... Fuck it, or sorry, this guy's going for fish strats. I don't even care anymore. Like, that was just...
Oh
I don't even know, man. Just... Okay.
He's not going for fish strats. Good job, Trosh.
Oh gosh. Oh Lord. I just don't even, I don't know anymore.
He does come to the finish line. He's gonna get a 40-28. That is going to be a PB for him by multiple minutes. Fantastic job on his part. Richard, unfortunately, he's having a little bit of trouble getting to Light Burst here. This is not exactly an easy area, so
yeah.
No shade at all here. And he's going to pull in for his cutscene skip. You don't want to watch this cutscene. It is 70 seconds long and not very uplifting.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. But, man, dude, seriously, tons of congrats to Kirefel. I could not be more impressed by a guy who... He came into this group as a 4 seed. He submitted his time about a month ago, I believe. If my memory serves correctly. And he just... He just blew his on a race setting. He blew his PB out of the water. He almost sub 40'd, like from almost a near 43 time. That's incredible. That might be is that the biggest PB we've gotten in the race so far?
Oh, we'll have to go back to the boys in the truck for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an incredible PB. It's a huge improvement for any runner at this stage. Richard having some trouble with the lasers. Kirefel coming out with a 40-28. I think I might have said 38 later.
No, you said 28.
Okay, I did, but then I forgot. But it's fine.
It's okay, man. It's fine. We've said a lot of numbers in this run. I don't blame you if you miss one.
That was a 40-28, and that is a great PB for him. And a win for him, which is most likely going to guarantee him the third place position in this group, which is going to allow him to avoid the placement matches to get into the round of 32.
Yeah.
He should have a guaranteed spot, and it's going to also allow him to avoid facing folks like Hetfield.
Yep, yep, indeed. And another thing too, so he's yet to play against Elo Jiminy yet, correct?
That is correct.
And
that's
so, like, I mean, what is he gonna pull out by the time that comes around? Like, could he just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna totally, like, you know, sub 38 in this, and then at that point, Elo's got to be really, really careful, because as we saw from, you know, J-Hobbs' race the other day, anything is possible. And I mean, he almost lost to a person who was what, 4 minutes behind him in PB.
Indeed.
So I mean, you never know. Like, that's the situation we could be at, you know, in a few days or whenever they're going to be racing. So now that's starting to get a little interesting.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly right. Like, you can never be sure exactly what's going to happen in a race. You can always just have a bad day. And in this game, bad days are going to get punished pretty hard. You're going to take multiple minutes of time loss, and it's not going to be a good time.
Yeah, no, not at all. So Richard's doing a door up right now. He's coming out on his first attempt, and he gets it. Wow.
That was actually second.
Oh, that was
He
second.
did
Okay.
have one right before that.
Ah,
But yeah,
okay.
I mean, still second is fantastic. Both of these
Definitely.
runners coming in under the tournament average. We actually do have stats for this now. The tournament average on door warp attempts is 3.26. So the boys in the truck doing some real work. I've been really impressed with them. And
Damn, they had to take out the TI-89 calculator for that one. Forget like the 83 plus, man.
that's not sufficient. TI Basic isn't going to cut it. We need full-on assembly.
Exactly. We need to like write programs for this, and the TI-89 is the only one that can get the job done.
So yeah, both of these runners getting their quick door warps, which is always a good feeling. Even if you're losing the race, even if you're not going to PB, just at the end of the run, to get that quick door warp and get in and not have to deal with that for like 7 or 8 tries.
It's like the door warp is such like a finicky trick, since it is like frame perfect, that I mean you could get super tilted at the end of the run just off of missing it like 5-6 times. And yeah, Richard not opting to go for fish shreds either. I think he wants this run to be done, to be honest. So he's going for it. But you know what? He actually he beat his previous time in the race, which was low 45. So
yeah,
I mean, he's gonna get I believe a 40. I think it was a 44:46. I want to say it was.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I mean it's a pretty good time. And it's only about 1:20 off of his PB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can't be super disappointed with that performance. Kirefel went way beyond. You know, when you compare two runners on paper, of course, all you've got to go on is their PBs,
Yeah.
right? And Richard's PB was not that far behind Kirefel, so he had to think, I mean, I have a chance.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, if it wasn't for like, I think it was 2 big mess ups, like once, well, setting the birds up in SAR and then also the one bad death in Misty, this might have been a race that was only like about maybe 1.5 minutes off of each other. Like it was a really close race, even getting to Feather, which was really like that was impressive, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a great one to commentate all through that early and mid game.
Yes, definitely. And Kirefel, you know, just after that point at Feather, he really said, I'm going to make a statement now. I'm going to show you guys what I'm capable of. And here it is, 40-28.
He's like, I don't know if you ever play like Need for Speed Underground, but when you do like the drag racing, you know, mode, he's like initiated NOS and just like took it into like full gear right there. It's like, hey, we'll see you guys.
So Richard coming in with a 44.50. Yeah. So congratulations to him on managing to pull out a pretty solid finish.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very solid time for him, for sure, especially compared to his PB. So that's a great GG to both runners. That was a very good race overall. And I can't wait for they both have 1 run left. So we'll have to see what they pull out in their last run.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So we've got just a quick conclusion on the PB story here, where Kirefel, previously with a 42.54, he now has a 40.28, which is an improvement by around 2.5 minutes. And he's going to leapfrog 5 positions on the leaderboard. 4 of whom are participating in the tournament. So, you know, very impressive performance for him, and just an important reminder that it's not just like he's not just having this, you know, arbitrary improvement in a vacuum, right?
Yeah,
he's improving compared to other people, and they got to keep pace.
Yeah, and a big one, I was just looking at the leaderboard now, like, you know, Task Snoop just got his like 2 days ago, where he pulled out like just a massive PB and got his 40.42. And Kirefel's like, you know what? I see you and I raise you an extra 14 seconds. And
exactly.
And it's like, but it's cool to see that, because you could like just have bopped people like 2, 3, 4 days before, and then the next race comes around with the guy behind you and he just pulls out a massive PB like that as well. I guess I got to get back to the grind and rebop him, you know? And that's such like the great part about this game is there's so much like freeform in the movement that you can find your own ways to optimize your route and improve your time. And in conjunction with that, you can improve it to a point where you're actually bopping just multiple people with like your next PB. And it's like super, and we've had so many PBs. And I remember, I think Sigma threw out a stat this morning, like 20% of the races at that point had a PB in them, which is like just godly percentage.
Yeah, we've had Sigma doesn't have the exact count just at the moment, but we've had 13 to 15 race PBs. That's the estimate.
That's
and
just unreal.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
We're not even close to the bracket stage yet. I mean, we still got like a whole nother round of like most people's, you know, third races coming up, and we're gonna probably see at least like 4 or 5 more, I would guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are going to move on because we did start a little bit behind schedule, but no problem there. Both racers doing their best to help us out in that regard. We're going to start getting set up for the next race. We're going to be seeing ogNdrahciR versus Cheese Lover. So this is one of our last few competitors who has not done a race yet.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, outside of Skyfo, who I'm actually doing my race against tomorrow afternoon, those two guys, Cheese Lover and him, are the only two that haven't had a race yet. So we still have yet to see what we're going to get from them. I know, I mean, ogNdrahciR has quite a bit of a lead as far as PB against Cheese, but I know Cheese has really been bringing his summer best down. I believe, if I remember his previous splits that he showed, I think it's almost a sub 36 summer best. Cool. So, you know, he's been really pumping out numbers recently. He's gone like, I want to say like 2 or 3 PBs in the last couple weeks. So, I mean, he can pull out something good in this race. It might be closer than people expect, but we'll have, you know, ogNdrahciR in his own right has a 34 right now. And if he can pull out anything within his, like a minute of his PB, that's going to be freaking epic.
Indeed. So for this coming race, we're going to be joined by our good friend Grimelios. Grim, how are you doing, man?
I am good. How are you guys?
Doing all right.
Fantastic, man.
So unfortunately, Grim will be joining us remotely from not quite inside my apartment. But
dude, just fly over. You should have flown over here from the Midwest, man. What's up with you, dude?
I'm sorry. I'm in just a really bad headspace. You know, I wasn't thinking ahead. I didn't book my flights. That's a whole mess.
You know, after we hung out, I'm just expecting more from you, man. Come on.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
Turns out I'm a perpetual disappointment.
Oh, now I just
right,
feel bad, man.
I mean, you should.
No,
I
it's
probably
okay.
should feel bad, honestly.